what I liked about it was the fact that it was, because you see a lot of podcasts with people who see things exactly the same. And so Cam Newton and Jason Wilson had similar principles, but also they had different opinions about a lot of things too. So it was nice to see. And I also just liked, it was a good way seeing healthy discussion, like in the sense of like how sometimes yes people do interject into let you finish talking and things like that happen, but at the same time they were also just a lot more respectful than you see a lot of times in podcasts.
Yeah.
And also, like, I felt like Jason Wilson was also trying to listen to learn and to understand, not just to reply,
Yep.
which is something that we don't see a lot anymore. I feel like a lot of people listen to just answers instead of listening to understand.
Hello, everyone. We're
Hello.
back with our podcast, our new series that I called. I think I found the name. Yes, I found the name. It's Things Up on These Things.
Think
Oh,
of
meditate. Actually, meditate on these things. That's the name of the series.
meditating. I don't know if I like that name.
You prefer?
Think on these things. Maybe, yeah. I think
Think
it
on these
flows
things.
better. I don't know. I have to think. About
Okay, sure. We can do these things. Anyway, it's thing on this thing.
Oh,
If we change it
Maybe.
again, we'll see. It's like you will know it anyway.
this is the first I'm hearing of the name, so.
Yes, I was just thinking because like I start to editing and everything,
I forgot what
and I thought, oh, perfect. This is the verse we use. Then means we can go with that. Sorry. So there's one up here. Do you want this thing that you're like, nope?
the Bible app.
Yeah, and
Why not?
there's that because you have to click no.
Oh yeah, no, because sometimes I click it by accident. Because usually I click yes, but then I'm just like, okay, I'm not leaving a review right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I click, I'm not paying attention. I click no, and they're like, oh, sorry, what can we do to make it better? And I'm like, that's so.
Anyway, remind the verse Philippians 4:8. And now, dear brother and sister, one final things: fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worth of praise. Keep putting into practice all you have learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. This is the verse. We are basing all this series. We want to highlight the good things, the good podcast, that are on YouTube that we love. We listen. We are not the type of people that watch like always the same podcast. We normally let YouTube inspire us. And that said, in fact, like one channel that actually we never watched before, at least I did not. I don't know if you have watched the other podcast.
No.
Was pretty new. We were watching about,
The one with Cam Newton and Jason Wilson, is that what you're talking about?
yes, the one we just finished.
I've never been in that position.
That's, yeah, Cam Newton, yeah, and Jason Wilson we just found this, actually looks like it was from 1 month ago, about manhood, faith, and overcoming temptation. I really love it. Actually, you started watching.
Yep.
And then you told me after 1 hour in,
Yeah.
it's a 2-hour podcast for anyone.
Yeah, it's a long one.
You told me like, hey, you need to watch this. It's really good. And everything. What do you think was the first things like you liked most? Because you came to me right away yesterday. We finished today, but yesterday you came as, hey, I watched this one and everything. And actually you showed me a clip about one specific part.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think what I liked about it was the fact that it was, because a lot of times you have people who, you see a lot of podcasts with people who see things exactly the same.
Mhm.
And so Cam Newton and Jason Wilson, they had similar principles, but also they had different opinions about a lot of things too. So it was nice to see. And I also just liked, it was a good way seeing healthy discussion, like in the sense of like how sometimes yes people do interject and don't let you finish talking and things like that happens, but at the same time they were also just a lot more respectful than you see a lot of times with those podcasts.
Yeah.
And also I felt like Jason Wilson was also trying to listen to learn and to understand, not just to reply.
Yep.
Which is something that we don't see a lot anymore. I feel like a lot of people listen to just answer, instead of listening to understand. So that's something I really enjoyed about it. And also just his calmness in being able to cut through a lot of things and be like, okay, what is your point? What do you actually mean? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, that was good. I think stay calm.
Yeah.
A little bit like when you are public, I feel like majority of people recognize the fact that they have to be a little more calm than when they're in private. But yeah, I like as Jason was able to break the point when if something will start to get a little bit too like
just going back
fire to
to
like
maybe a little
too much energy, then
Yeah.
he would break down. And we were just laughing about the fact that I don't know how many times he was like, okay, let's just reset. That was good. And I think that it looks funny, but at the same time, it's so strategic because also Jason Wilson, he works with kids. You were saying that. It's like probably it's a good way to know, like when you are like in back and forth with younger teenager and everything.
Yeah.
It's just, instead of just create this rage and everything, let's just break. I was still good.
And
We are
also
not
be like,
attacking
okay,
each
this
other.
is the point you're trying to make. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand that. And I like also he acknowledged where things are like acknowledging what you do agree on. Be like, oh, okay, yes, this, I agree. Yes, this is like this or whatever. I think it's a good point to be able to do. Think about it. When you're having arguments and different things like that, it's so easy to be like, get caught up in what you think is right and not just listen to the other person, but you won't even acknowledge what the other person is saying, the truth in what the other person is saying.
Yep.
Even if you don't necessarily agree with their whole perspective, it's good to acknowledge the points that you can agree on.
Yeah. And also, I think like the hardest part, at least for me many times, is give enough time for the person to make the connection, the final connection. Like I tend at least jump on the things as almost like I know where you're going, but we don't really know. And then I think like Jason was doing really good at be like, sometimes he would jump too early, and I was like, it's like, hey, I want to hear what Cam is saying. Let Cam finish, but he would recognize that. He would be like, oh, sorry, like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, he would
What is
let
the
us
point?
sometimes like, oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, and I think when you are in the conversation, the excitement tend to sometimes take you to the point where you want to jump in because you want to have the conversation.
And it's kind of like one of those things you have to learn the difference between when to jump in and like when to jump in and when to let people finish. Obviously, you want to let people finish, but sometimes if they're just dragging on or too, like, that's a really important point that they're making. You're like, wait, let's just stop there for a second before we go on to something else. That could be also a thing.
True. Yeah, it's the one topic that I think was pretty much most of the podcast, because Cam started with the tablet in front of him full of questions.
Yeah.
And then like
Off of it.
then everything came off the tablet. I think that's what made the one. I think I really love that episode because was a bit out of the just like question, and I like having question because it helps stay on the conversation. But in this case, obviously, regarding the fact that he has 3 baby mamas, and
that wasn't really the question.
No, it was not the question, but was the conversation came around.
It was more about just like sleeping around and being
sleeping around. Yeah, it was more like he obviously came. His father, I don't know much, but what I understood, Cam's father, he's a pastor. He grew up like everyone has great marriage in his family, except he's not the one married and he's the one like sleeping around. And I think like part of it was like he felt judged when meet with all the family, because all the question they always ask is about like, when are you gonna get married, pretty much.
He didn't say that. Did he say that? Maybe I missed that.
Like at one point.
Oh, I know you missed.
What about in marriage? Yeah, like
I heard him more. I didn't really hear him say that he was getting judged from the family.
No, he didn't say he was getting the odds. He just say when we meet like family say.
I missed up. Yeah. Okay. I missed that part. What was I gonna say? I remember him saying how just his view on God in general was from the perspective very much of just more rules than personal relationship. It felt like, I'm not saying it is not personal relationship with God, but maybe not rules, but do this, do that, and then also like other people judging him. Like a lot of his perspective, I felt was like, oh, people, and he was like, people are telling me that if I do this, I'm going to hell, and if I because I'd done this and all these things. That was he brought up points like that a lot. Like his arguments for stuff were a lot of times centered around so and so did this, so am I going to hell just because I did that? Like things like that he would bring up.
Yeah, there was that one, but at the same, I think like even what Jason was doing good was like going back to the main problem, because I don't even think that was the main problem
No.
in his heart, because honestly speaking, like he seems more that the problem for him was one of the things say is fear. Like he was scared that to be divorced.
Yeah.
To be it sounds almost like the only one in the family that probably is gonna get divorced can be the other black sheep, because he called himself like
He
the
called
black
the black sheep of the family
of the
because
family.
married. Yeah.
Was married, but it sounds like also that he didn't want to get married because if he got divorced, he had fear to get divorced, and he would be even more a black sheep because no one in his family got divorced. Everyone is doing. But anyway, apart from that, there was also like a lot of things like, but there is grace. I think like he kept repeating, "Oh, what about the grace? There's no Cam." He kept repeating about grace of God. They came back and forth because Jason was telling him like, "Hey, you should not." The Bible speak exactly about not sleeping around and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, but what about the grace?" Like he used a verse about the grace, and then Jason came back with the fact that in Romans say we are not called to abuse the grace of God. And it was that, and I like there also Jason where at one point he's like, "Hey, let's stop. Let's not. We're not going nowhere to just keep it back and forth, just throwing us verses back and forth. And we are not gonna solve this problem just by doing that." And I think that point, I like that things a lot because it seems like such simple things, but actually like many time in conversation between Christians, and even not Christians, but people they know the Bible, like they're trying to just take verses and then just throw it at each other. It's almost like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's like here, like Roman 8:16 here. That's funny. And then it's who has the best card and who destroyed the other person with the card. And I must become a card games more than things, and they lose the context of a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of what the Bible, because like I obviously, yes, grace exists. We have grace. We are in Jesus Christ. Our sin is clean. Our sin are clean. We don't like God sees us purified, clean, and everything because like He sees our spirit that is totally clean, is renewed, totally fine and everything. But at the same time, that's where Paul kept going back because this doesn't give you like a pass, like a sin pass, but mostly if it's willingly. And in James or Titus,
Say that again.
willingly. If you die willingly.
Wait, no, I missed the connection. Go back up.
I was saying that people need to differentiate between I'm sinning between happens, because I think like you cannot condemn yourself for something that like obviously like we're not perfect. We have to transform our body, our mind, and everything to get closer to Christ day by day. And it's like sins can happen, but there is a difference between that and hear from inside of you, like here, this is what you are supposed to do, knowing what you're supposed to do. I've gone through it like perfectly understanding, and then like you do it anyway, like spite of everything. I think that's where people need to differentiate a lot, because I think like with him, that's where he was making mistakes on using the context of grace. Because yes, grace covers, like the blood of Jesus cover all our sins, the sin, but doesn't like there is a difference between I make a mistakes and between like I know I'm not supposed to have sex with that woman and everything, but saying, oh, it's fine, Jesus paid for me, and just going.
Oh, okay. I was trying to understand. Yeah, I agree with that. I think also that people can get too focused sometimes on the certain behavior that a person is doing instead of thinking about, in his case and other cases, like what is the reason. And when you start peeling things back, like you said, there was fear, also the relationship with God, and not even necessarily just Kenya specifically, but in general, why people do things a lot of times, that their perspective of God, in their perspective of God makes them do certain decisions, but like affects every other areas of their life, and it can make us not trust God. So if I don't trust God, and then we're talking about like lust and things like that, But it can be any area. If I don't trust God when it comes to lust, then I don't really believe what God says about that it's best, sex is best inside of marriage. And I don't believe I can overcome the addiction, or I don't believe I can walk in purity and turn my eyes and not sleep around if I don't rely on the Holy Spirit to help me. And it's hard to rely on the Holy Spirit to help you if you don't trust God and you don't trust the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And you are scared. I feel like
Exactly.
sometimes people are scared to have a personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
They're most like afraid that like it's gonna come with
Just
thunder and,
yeah.
and burn them down because like all they've done. Because that's actually one question that I think was missed there, and really I would like to ask, because we understood obviously that since that there was no relationship directly with God. But my question is like, why though? Because you grew up in a church, you know about personal relationship with God, but like, why you decide to not have it? Like, the decision you don't make through the relationship, but just what other people do.
It happens to a lot of other people because it's like your surroundings. Your surroundings and the people around you affect you a lot. So it can push you away, just like how it pushed him away from marriage, seeing so many people, instead of having a marriage for himself and looking for himself, seeing so many people just do whatever with their relationship gave him a fear. And so I think it's easy to be like, oh, sometimes it can be easy to be like, oh, why are they letting the people and the things around them affect them instead of pursuing a personal relationship? But sometimes you don't even realize it. Sometimes you just look up and, oh, here I am. I've let all these people and all these things affect my relationship with God and stop me from having a relationship with God. Just because the circles you're in, or just, again, sometimes it's your childhood where you grew up, you don't necessarily have a lot of say in where you grew up. I think that can happen a lot, just to a lot of people that you see it a lot these days. A lot of people can be turned away from God just from their experiences because the hurt is real. Yeah. And especially words last. So
yeah, we hear often how like a lot of people that leave the church and everything is because that they grew up in church is because like of what people were speaking about them or what they're saying about them.
yeah.
Crazy. And it's funny, like there's the other side of that, how there is like the know all saying, oh, it's like people say things, but like why you even take it serious? You need to go to God. And I'm like, yes, it's true, but like, you know, you are not there. When you are 13, 14, 15, you don't have that the understanding like, oh, like whatever people say is no, it doesn't even matter. Only God is what matters. Like you are not in that. Your mind, your things is not there. Also because while you grow up, like you are taught to trust adults.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have your parents all your life. Like you are growing up, be like, hey, I trust older people. I trust my mom, my dad, and then my mom and dad did always tell me like, oh, listen to your uncle, listen to your grandpa. And then you go to church and they say, oh, these are the wise people, like the elders. And then one of those elders tells you like, oh yeah, you are doing that. How that? Oh, your skirt is like 1 inch too short or stuff like that. Like why you're wearing that in your hair or like stuff. And then you're like, and those are the people that your parents told you to respect, to listen to. And again, I'm not trying to go away from respect because you should respect, but I think I don't know how to say it, but like we came from respect. These people from just respect them, they became almost like they are allowed to speak in our life.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, also what happens is we equate respects means that one, we can never question anything that they say. And sometimes I can start just with childhood that you can't question anything your parents tell you.
That's true.
It's funny because like I was just talking to my mom about that other day, that like something that I don't necessarily agree with is all some of the gentle parenting stuff is so much. I think sometimes they're just like over explaining everything to the kids, but I do appreciate this idea of this room for more conversation and communication with your kids. I think that's a great idea because honestly, there's no parenting style that
gonna be perfect.
Really has it all together. No, there's no evidence showing that if you do X, Y, and Z, this will lead to your children being amazing kids. Exactly. It's funny because I was thinking about that, like of all the like types of use. I mean, there's so many books on parenting and marriage and things like that. But I feel like between parenting and marriage, like people can be like, oh, if you do, there's some things that you do that will definitely make your marriage stronger. But I feel like the consensus on what to do to help your relationship with your kids and stuff, I think it's very vague, like very loose. There's not even like any kind of like A, B, C, D. There is, but there isn't.
Think about just on how to train. Careful with the microphone.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just how to train your kids to sleep. It's like when Luigi was not sleeping, we watched so many things, so many books and everything, and everyone had a different way.
Oh my God. And everybody, not just everybody had a different way. Everybody, they don't just tell you their perspective, they judge the other people's perspective too.
Exactly.
That's another thing I noticed. Oh, if you're doing
and I mean,
you're just blah, blah.
Again, we do that with that. Imagine how we do in a Christianity thing. So that's a bigger thing. Oh, we judge other Christian all the time. Oh, if that Christian doesn't do what I do or what I understand about the Bible, that person is not a Christian.
Yeah.
Let me point a finger. And that's why we started our podcast where we go for the opposite. We look for the good things because actually God didn't say too much about looking at pointing fingers to everyone because that's what the Pharisees were doing. To Jesus was not what Jesus was going around to do it. But apart from that, going back to the things, when we were just forgetting Luigi to sleep, I was like, oh yeah, it was an experiment.
Yeah.
We were testing, we had to test, like we tried so many things. And at the end of the day, like I can go to a person and say, you know how we found the way to put Luigi to sleep? Honestly, I was like, you went to the living room, you went to sleep in the living room, and I was the one sleeping with Luigi in the bed.
Yeah.
And that's where made him finally start to get used to be more like without you inside the room or without you present.
Yeah.
And everything. That's what it started. There was no magic, no step by step.
And the thing is, every child is so different.
Yeah, and the next person, even like when I ask my mom, me, my brother, my sister, she always say like totally different. Like she said, like me at 3 months old, I was just sleeping 8 hours. Great. She was like, it was perfect. My brother it was a fight for years to get any sleep. Like she had to sometimes go. I still remember, like you had to get to sleep with him on the couch, and then you had to carry from the couch to the bed because he would not go to sleep directly in the bed.
Yeah.
It's like, and this is for older, like we also toddler age, that he was still like hard and everything. And that's why I'm like, you have grace, and I again agree with you though that the extreme gentle parenting is bad, but the mentality behind it, the reasoning behind that is actually really good.
Yeah.
Because that's where I love from my mom. My mom never was the type. Actually, there were some time that she was more like this or this.
Yeah.
Like black and white. But most of the time, she was the type of person where I remember, and that's why we were always able, each one of us always speak about anything with my mom.
Yeah.
And why I have a great relationship with her is because like I could go and have a full conversation with her about something. Like even in school, if I would get, let's say, not suspended, but a warning of things from teacher, she would not just come and spank me, but she would actually ask me like, okay, what actually happened? I need to hear. And then obviously she was trying to find a teaching, because if it was that I was totally like bad towards the teacher, I would say it's something bad, it's different. But for example, like I totally remember one time in school, the reason why I got this warning, and mind you, I spoke in elementary school, means I was like probably 6, 7, and 8. There was a girl there that I think she started to get like her menstrual, but she had a little bit of hair on her. And I pointed to her and said, oh, she has a beard.
Oh no, cool girl.
And she started to cry. Again, 7 years old, 6, 7 years old.
She was in her cycle at 7.
I don't know, but she had some hair. Maybe 8. But like with elementary school, I don't remember exact age.
Sorry.
It was before 10.
Okay.
We were younger than that.
Yeah.
And I was, and I remember, obviously she cried. And then the teacher didn't really explain to me. She just was like, no, you cannot do that. And she brought a notice, like a warning to my mom that on my diary. Yeah. And I had to take to my mom. and things. And my mom read that, and then my mom was like, okay, what did you do? Because like she said that I did something bad to a girl, but my mom was like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And then I explained to my mom, I was like, oh, like she had some hair, and I thought that she had beard and everything. I think I told her also like where to go for it, because like I knew where my mom would go. And my mom was like, okay, here. I understand like you want maybe to help her, tell her and everything, but you don't say those things aloud, and you don't say those things to girls. Like she understood that, okay, she doesn't know I'm like young.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what you say to a woman, and it's not that your parents like they know from day one, okay, this is a list of things I have to train my kids to say or not say.
Yeah.
Like a lot is like with the sperm, and oh wait, no, you don't say that. Oh, okay, you can say that.
Right.
Then like my mom was like, okay, that you cannot say that.
Yeah. I think, just going off of what you said, kind of like how you're saying, there's a balance, because there's not always time to give an explanation for everything. Like when it comes to like kids and things like that, just from watching kids, now being a parent, but also just I've done a lot of nannying, babysitting, and just summer camps, things of that nature. And there's not time to give an explanation for everything that I tell you to do, which comes from trust. There needs to be a level of trust that I'm not going to explain everything, but I can still sometimes explain things. It's all about balance, because you can, like I said, you can go extreme the two ways. And so that's what's like learning with kids and with life. Okay, when it comes to respecting others and things, you should be allowed to ask questions. But there should be times where, okay, someone tells you to do something and you just do it.
Oh yeah, and also not debate everything.
Yes, because there's also a difference between asking a question because you genuinely want to know, and asking a question so you can argue it. Argue their perspective.
We saw that in the Bible, the difference between, I forgot the name, John, father.
Oh, you mean, yes, oh gosh.
I forgot the name.
Not Zacchaeus, some of the Z, I want to say, isn't it?
Zacchaeus? Not Zacchaeus? No.
Zachariah?
Zachariah, yeah.
Oh, it was Zachariah, I think.
The difference between him and Mary.
Yeah.
Both. They asked the question.
They both were like, what the world? How the heck is this going to happen?
Yeah, but notice that there is like a different reply from the angels.
Totally different.
Yeah. One was like, to Mary, the angel was like, let me explain to you.
Yeah.
You have been chosen, and God is going to do that through the Holy Spirit. To the other, shut up, turn your mouth off. You're not going to be able to speak until you say. I don't think it has to be that harsh, but yeah. It's boring. But no, not that harsh, but it shows that there is a different spirit on how was asked the question. Zachariah here must ask to the, he spoke to the angel and must, that's not possible. Like his question, like how this would be done, was more like, this is not going to happen. Yeah. And like, what, are you kidding me? Yeah. Then like he was cutting faith. He was, and like God was like, okay, I need to turn this thing off until you understand. Mary was more genuinely asking like, hey, good question, because I'm a virgin. How are we doing this? Yeah. And that was like a time for explanation. It means like also that's where it get tricky, some things with kids. Yeah. Sometimes is, are you asking, and also just with the adults too, like, and that you can see in this podcast was really good, because multiple times Jason was kind of like stopping everything and said, hey, I'm asking this with genuine, trying to understand what's going in you.
I like yes. I like how you asked him, like, I want you to be specific, not vague. Exactly. Because I'm trying to actually understand. And it's just,
he was not trying to.
A lot of great tips were just like learning how to communicate when you're talking to somebody who you don't necessarily agree with everything they're saying, and you're trying to get your point across, and they're trying to get their point across, is, like I said, trying to be like, okay, what actually is your point? Keeping your tone calm. Yeah. Keeping your voice calm. Taking a breath. I thought that was really great, how he was able to just keep himself calm. Because it's hard. You do better than this than I do. That's why I can't.
Depends on what things. I think you are actually pretty good mediator most of the time. Like I see.
When I'm not in it. It's easy to be a mediator when you're not the one in the argument.
Yeah. But me, I learned to enjoy discussion, to just like trying to learn how to be more like Jason, because you don't not bored. There are some people that they are automatically chill. Yeah. But most of the time, when actually it's a topic that it's to connect to personal, really hard to stay like calm
Yes, that's
and to stay chill. And I think that's why like Jason often was like tapping his hand and most, hey, are we good? Let's reset. I don't want, because for Cam was like a real personal situation. He didn't want to take the moment where it become too, it's like a snowball. When it starts to roll down, things can become really huge. You want to stop it before it get too massive, the problem.
And that's your point. Oh, sorry.
And no, I was saying like one way, like I like to do sometimes when you go to a fair and everything, if there is like one of the political parties, I like to go.
Yeah, you like to go talk to
both sides. I just like to go to the Democrats, go to the Republicans. I can have a discussion, because I always tell people I'm more conservative as a some of my principles, but at the same time I don't agree with everything that Republican does, and that
like to be associated with.
But apart from that, it's a great place to have a conversation, in my opinion, to learn how to be calm, because that's the main thing, is we are unified in the body of Christ. We are like, also we live in the same world. Even if you are not a believer, we still live in the same place. And like attacking to each other to harm another person, physical, verbally, just because you don't see it the same way, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's why I like and dislike those what this person versus this person, like the Jubilee ones.
Yeah,
and I think they're the ones who started. Now a lot of people do them. Other one, I don't know, could be anything. One conservative versus one. It's not always political, but like one person with a certain idea versus two.
Christian against Muslim,
or like a feminist versus conservative, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I get the idea of having people from different opinions discussed. I honestly think I liked the old way better, where it was multiple people from both sides, and then they say the prompt, and then they have the people come forward if they agree on the issue, and if they don't, the other ones come and they talk about it. I feel like that way was a bit more like trying to find common ground. I think it was called the middle, but maybe I'm wrong. Versus, to me, again, they can totally do what they want. This is my personal. I feel like the way where it's 1 versus 20, I feel like it's more just about I'm getting my point. I'm trying to prove my point. And it's not really about listening.
I know.
A lot of times. Not all of them. Again, I haven't watched all of them. So the ones that I've seen. Because honestly, I still do watch them because you learn some good information about things. And they do. Yeah, and now they do, sometimes they do fact check on the side, which is nice too. But I will say, you can get great information, but I think for actually learning how to dialogue with people, it's not the best way. No, I would say.
It's not but that's why the best way to learn. I think like actually, if you want to learn how how you should dialogue with people, this podcast, speaking like the point with Cam and Jason, really good. Yeah, like even if don't want to learn anything else of that podcast, you don't care what they are saying. Like, I have to say, Jason really showed one, like, not perfect, but like really showed like the way to have a real communication with a person without degenerate, without getting too much out of topic.
Cam Newton too.
Cam was great.
He was attentive.
Yeah, even if it was, because like let's be honest. And again, I say what I said before. When you speak about personal matters, it's easy to go towards like rage or escalate to a point where you get mad, because
he didn't get really to rage. He just got a bit deflective, which is normal. Everybody kind of does it because like he would get somewhat defensive, but it's easy to say when you're not the person sitting there literally on camera, having someone basically read you your mail. Sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, why is he? But he really wasn't. I think he did a great job listening and also not getting really offended, because a lot of people would not be able to even hear anything that he was saying.
That's true.
Without getting very offended. So I think he did a good job in that sense. It just showed a good example of hearing things and not getting super offended about it, and also still being open to keep the conversation going. Because sometimes it's easy to, when people say things you don't like, to just mute out everything else they say after that. I can't even listen to you anymore because I can't. I know everything else that you tell me now, I'm not even going to pay attention to because you said this one point. Yeah. It's easy to do those kind of things. So I think that was a really good show, just a good way to have healthy conversation. And I just like the idea of how we're seeing more people talk about being just like talking about specifically men being more open to their emotions. It's really nice. It's really refreshing to see talking about how a lot of times men are just shown that their emotions that they can go to is like anger and like physical things like that, but how those are just like very like surface level things, and how there's so much more depth and other things that can be done than just like going to anger and like holding things. And honestly, even though it's more geared towards men, I think it's great for women too, because women struggle with expressing themselves too. Not just men, in different ways, but sometimes in similar ways and sometimes different ways.
What do you think is like the superficial expression that a woman has? Because we understand, we were here. I think we heard a lot of the podcasts were about like men, that mostly we show everything with one emotion, that's anger, and that's how we express all the other emotion pretty much. Like the other emotions, they're just here and then they explode and they become all angers, because I'm frustrated, I'm anger. Like I'm disappointed, I show angers. Like it's all. What do you think is like the one that women must like use to show? I think women, they show more than one. They're not all do.
Well, I think the thing is, with realize anger can show up in different ways, in my opinion. So again, I can't speak for all women, but there's different ways to show up. And sometimes it can be very sometimes women can be very passive aggressive when they're upset. So I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. So maybe I won't say outright what's wrong, but I'm gonna I don't even know how to describe it, to make remarks about it without directly making remarks about it. Let's say, I don't know, somebody coming with the dishes or something like that. I'm gonna be like, oh, so you're just gonna sit down, huh? Things like that. Or you can be passive aggressive about things. Or I think sometimes women can be hurtful with their words, and sometimes can keep score of like other past things that their partner does, their husband does, when it's not like that's the issue. But again, it's not the real issue, because there's more hurt.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, like using the words to hurt the person, I think is a way. It's kind of like a way of anger. Like we know that, like to express that there's something else going on, especially if there's fear, because obviously men and women can both feel fear. And so I think it's easy when you feel afraid, you don't want to go to that emotion because it feels vulnerable. And you feel exposed. So then it's okay, I'm just going to be like maybe a little bit mean, or I'm going to nitpick you, or I'm just going to close myself off. They're all kind of ways to protect yourself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, to discharge anger pretty much. It's like anger, but like the way it shows is like, it's almost like a different meteorological, like it's almost anger.
It is, yeah.
It looks like
still anger.
different meteorological events, you know,
like
like you can have like, when we look at the weather, like the energy in the air and everything can go down in different way. It can be a tornado, can be a hurricane, can be an earthquake. There are still like way that the earth pretty much discharge energy.
Exactly.
It's made by energy, but
yeah, exactly.
same thing with the anger. Like it doesn't look always the same. Maybe for a man can be more like earthquake. Like we are more physical, more like shaky, but maybe like how expressed from a woman can be like.
Sometimes it's more with our words.
It's more words, or like right in that moments, and then like you remind later on is and keep that inside, like
exactly.
Remember
Remember
that. Remember that. That's interesting. Honestly, we should see if we find a podcast we can send the people like, hey, this is the good podcast about, because we listen to other womanhood, we listen to manhood podcast, womanhood podcast, both great, but there was not really talk in womanhood regarding emotion. And actually, like for everyone listening, we listened that like a few days ago, and I think like everyone should go, like the one with, I don't want to butcher name, I know the last name is Perry,
Jackie
O. Perry and
Preston Perry. They have a great podcast.
Probably if you're watching this you might know already, but there's more chance than that. But both they did the womanhood and a manhood podcast.
Lots of
great
points.
Yes, love it. For men, 100%, go check it out. I think that literally speaks a lot of like how be able to share your feeling without need to be vulnerable. It's like that's things are weak. Like because people take the too close like vulnerability with weakness. And there is a point where, except with your wife, you don't want to be totally throw everything that's happening to you inside of you to everyone, because like you don't want to overshare, but at the same time, like you have to understand where you're sitting.
Yeah.
Also, you don't want to close it yourself too hard where, I'm not sharing to no one, my wife, my things, because I cannot trust no one. Like there is no one I can trust. And fun fact, like that's happened with God many times, because I feel like even as a man, sometimes we have a hard time even to share with God. And it's because we are not used to share with other men. Like share to, like if we look at God as a father, but if we grow up with a father that tells you, like when I was growing up, for example, like in the car and I had the sun on me and was burning me, because like obviously like sun in Italy in August, we didn't have AC in the car and everything, it was burning, and my son and my dad be like, be a man, this is not
Right.
just be a man, this is
Right.
not doing anything, or I don't know, so many things, like it was just like about be a man, like you're suffering, or like you broken your hand because you've been working hard, what it's not, just be a man.
Being a man means that you can't feel. You can't be being a man means you can't be in touch with your feelings.
Exactly.
And
like,
it's funny because I feel sometimes like we've made it like such a weakness and such a like it's a feminine thing to be in touch with your feelings.
Yeah.
Which it's not, because I don't know, to me when people are like, oh, men need to be, they need to learn about the feminine part being like nurturing and caring and soft and emotions. I'm like, though, but this is just me a little bit nitpicky. Like those are not female characteristics. Yeah. Those are characteristics that come from God.
Yep.
And they're not divided by masculine. They're not like, oh, if
by sex. No.
Yeah, they're not like a gender role or something. Like, oh, if you're nurturing, you're doing a womanly thing. Or you're learning to be more womanly. No, that's part of being a man. Nurturing is part of being a man. Like this idea that masculinity is only about physicality and things like that, that's not biblical.
There is also a difference between recognize the feeling and just be like, okay, I can go over it, be okay, and just totally wash it off or put it down. That's, I think, the big things in men is, I think the substance between, hey, the sun is hot on you, you don't have to cry or scream, but I acknowledge the fact that's hot.
Yeah.
It's okay that you say it's hot, instead of just cut off. Don't even think that the feeling exists. Like it's almost like you have to take that feeling away from you more than, I think God is, when you read the Bible, you can see God is, we are not guided by our feeling.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say you are not or don't have feeling.
Yeah.
That's the difference with him. It's like we grow up in the manhood with the idea like you don't have any other feeling except anger. That's the only one.
Because anger is manly.
It's manly. That's the only one who remains in you. That's the difference, where God is saying, no, you have all your feelings.
God created all the
feelings. You can feel like pain, you can feel things, but you don't have the feeling controlling your life.
Yeah. And see,
you can come to me and everything and use faith and use people to help you to go all through that.
And I'm going to add, I think that it's okay to be sad, because I feel like, especially for men, you're not allowed to be sad.
Oh, yeah, no.
You can't cry. And just, even if you don't need to cry, maybe like saying, oh, that hurt me. Oh, what? That hurt you? Be a man. You know what I mean? You can't be like, oh, the sun is hot, it's hurting me. You can't admit, because admitting something hurting is like weakness. It goes all back up. But it's okay if you're sad. Like I saw, again, I've been watching a lot of parenting stuff. That's why I keep thinking about that. I saw this video where this guy was like, oh, if my kid is crying just because he didn't get what he wants, I'm not going to give him a hug, because that would be giving him what he wants, and that's manipulation. And I get what he's saying, how age is super important for why the kid is crying. But again, I think teaching kids that they can't cry or be upset is a bit dangerous. To be like, oh, you can't be sad that you didn't get what you want. Yeah, you don't want them to be like hysterical and things like that. But one, when they're younger, again, this is where age comes in. It takes time. If you tell our son that, hey, he can't have any more bunny cookies, he's gonna be sad, and we can be like, oh, he's just trying to manipulate. Maybe, I mean, I don't think kids are really trying to manipulate. I think that's overused with little kids trying to manipulate. But he's just sad because he didn't get a cookie. I mean, I can give him a hug. I mean, giving in would be giving him the cookie because he cried.
Yes.
That's teaching him that tears
equal to get
you get what you want. All you have to do is cry. You're gonna get what you want. That's where I agree with him. That's crossing the line. But just comforting your kid because they're sad, I don't think, but is wrong. And again, I think that's something that we don't see God doing.
Yeah.
We have this perspective that we can't be sad over loss. A lot of times in Christianity, we forget that God is a God of comfort, and God is not offended that you're grieved or offended that you're sad about something that happened to you. God's not going to make fun of you, be like, oh, why would you be sad about this? Why would you be sad? It's not a big deal. Because that's what it can feel like sometimes. For me personally, it can be like, oh, why am I sad or upset about a small thing? Why am I getting overwhelmed? Like sometimes when I'm with Luigi and I get overwhelmed, like I got overwhelmed the last couple of days because he keeps throwing his spoon and his food on the floor. And at first I was like, why am I getting upset about this in comparison when he used to not sleep through the night? This is nowhere near as bad as when he didn't sleep through the night. But it's okay. But then I'm like, okay, but it's okay to be frustrated with that. Like, obviously, you don't want to just stay in a state of feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, because it's gonna stress you out.
It will stress you out, exactly. But it's not healthy to be like, oh, I can't even feel this. I can't even acknowledge that.
Yep.
I'm feeling overwhelmed.
I think that acknowledgement is the most important part
Yes.
at the end of every feeling. And also, it's what we say in the Christ, like giving to God and putting
Yeah.
across is also important
Yeah.
as well. Like, it's not wrong. You were saying be sad, crying, and things like when we had financial problem, everything was not bad. I think was not bad for me to be like overwhelmed by
Yeah.
and say to you,
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed. Like sometimes men, they won't want to say to the wife, but like why I'm married my wife that's supposed to be my helper,
Yeah.
and we're supposed to be one flesh. If I cannot even share, hey, I'm overwhelmed with the problem with the finances
Yeah.
now. But at the same time, I also learned that in that same moment, we learned that let's go pray in tongues. Let's seek God. We need to take this one and throw to God, because like I cannot handle myself.
Yeah.
I'm not emotionally strong enough to handle all this together.
Yeah.
It's gonna overwhelm me. And we have to recognize that. We have to recognize that instead of trying to keep putting that emotion like down under the rug and everything. That's then what we do.
I tend to do that. Just be like, that's fine.
We should like
up more stuff in
exactly. We should speak about that, and sometimes we need to seek help.
Yep.
Seek help. Go to. It's fine. As a man, it's okay. Seek help.
Yeah.
Woman, it's okay, because also sometimes women are similar. Because we always speak about like how men their grow to be like you need to be a man, but there is also to have to say with the fact that there's been more single moms than ever. There are so many little girls growing up in a house where they're single mom, and this single mom they have to grow to become a man, like to be the mom and the dad in figure. And then they have this. Now these girls, they're growing up with things like my mom is tough. My mom is tough. I need to be tough. I cannot show anything because my mom had to take care of 5 kids, 8 kids by herself, working and doing everything. Like
my mom took care of us.
Yeah, took care of us. Took care of us. Like she was hard. She was hardcore. Like I'm supposed. Even women now, they're like going toward the direction of be like I need to be hardcore or I need to find my own way to get things done, manipulating and do other things. They're going a little bit different direction than men, because obviously they recognize we don't have enough power or strength, physical strength even, like to impose our will, where men sometimes they use their physical strength to literally say what they want.
Use their strength.
Yeah, to take what they want. Where women can do, then they have to find other way that can be manipulation and other things.
I would say, I hear what you're saying. I would think I would go maybe a different route in saying that I think that women feel, because you're saying women feel the pressure to do enough, to be enough, to be a man. And I think that women can feel that too, especially when it comes to the pressure of what is being a woman. Because there's a lot of pressure to get married, to have kids, or to really be a career woman too. Like it can be pressures, like no matter what a woman does.
Oh, maybe you do all the 3.
Exactly. No matter what a woman does, women can get criticized.
Because now there are men like complaining to the father, oh, you are at home, but like why you don't have also a career? Like why you are making 100K and taking care of the 3 kids, 4 kids, and you have to do both.
Oh yeah, and there's this idea that like women, I know for myself, it's like you think, am I doing enough? And so it's okay, you suppress your feelings because you're like, oh, so-and-so kid, they might have a situation worse than me, so I can't really be upset about the fact that I'm struggling. Oh, maybe I'm weak because I'm struggling with my one kid controlling my emotions. Other people, they had whatever many kids and they do this thing and they're okay. And I'm here and it feels like I'm struggling. So I just have to like act like I have it all together. Like I can't reach out because I'm going to seem weak that I can't even handle my house or my career with what happened. So it's like, it's same but different.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we, men and women, a lot of the things we struggle with the same things. They can show up maybe in slightly different ways. But yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in feeling like I can't reach out for help because my situation isn't like horrible enough.
Yeah.
Can I really say that, hey, I'm struggling with my kid not sleeping? Without people be like, oh, my kid didn't sleep for blah, blah, blah. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my kid has this problem. At least yours, like, don't they?
But at least your kid, blah, blah, blah. So it's like,
there is both. There is two sides. It's like a coin with two faces. Obviously, there's contentment. In the Bible, it means like we need to be grateful of where we are because like there can be always a worse version.
Yeah.
Us, but
that doesn't mean your situation isn't real.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that you cannot acknowledge the fact that your situation is tough for you in this time.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like we have come to the point is, oh yeah, like there are African people not eating for 30 days. While like, why you're complaining that you were not able to have a cheesecake yesterday? And it was like, I know that's like extreme on both sides. But just saying, if a kid's, it's sad that he didn't have his cheesecake, it's fine. You are sad. Okay, I'm not giving you a cheesecake, but like, it's okay. Recognize the fact that you're sad and cool. Let's play. Let's read a book. Let's do something else and everything.
But I think,
but you don't have to cut off his feeling or saying like his feeling are not valuable. Or like his feeling are not important just because in a woman, in a man, once we grow up, you're gonna keep having the same things because like you go in work environment and now you have managers saying your feeling is not important. Just because you feel like that, it doesn't matter. Like there's that person is much worse than you. And I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that person is not much worse than me, but can you give me like just 5 minutes to say, I feel like not good? Yeah, like these things bother me. Just 5 minutes. I'm not saying like I need to stay here for months. Yeah, because you don't want to stay on the same things for months. But if I have 5 minutes where I need to discharge myself because I have too many things going on in my life, that's fine. Again, like everyone has a different.
We're seeing the effects basically, like not being able to express yourself in a healthy way. Again, like acknowledging your feelings. We're seeing adults who are not able to acknowledge their feelings. And so it's kind of like how you said that the scientific law of like energy can't be like, what's it like? Energy can't be like stop, it just like transfers or something. Yeah. It's like all those suppressed feelings, like it can't be stopped. It's kind of like energy. It can't stop. Yeah. You're just transferring to other areas. So you become an adult and you're suppressing and not acknowledging. That stuff is still popping up. We're just seeing it in different ways. And now you're an adult and you have access to other things and you do other things, but it's still, you think it started as a kid of not being able to express yourself or acknowledge that, dang, this made me upset. And you go to an adult and you think, oh, I can't express that this made me upset. I can't ask for help. I can't say I'm struggling with this because this seems silly. And I'm not even talking about just like people who don't know God. I'm talking about Christians. Yeah. A lot of Christians don't know how to.
Christian, we are the first one because we always want to use, I don't remember where a verse is, but we always attack other Christians like, why you even have feeling? You don't need to have.
You don't have enough faith.
You don't have enough faith.
Yeah, that's.
But
like, it's like God says, cast all our cares on Him.
Oh, He cares. Read the Psalm. Like you can read the psalmist, David and all the other kings and everything, Bill line crying, right? There's obviously, they cry for 3-4 verses, and then they're like, but for a chapter, and then they're like, oh God, you are always faithful.
Turn to God.
Exactly, turn to God.
Bring it to God. Yeah.
But they're not like, they're like, oh, I feel this, but this isn't useless. You God, you're this man, you're strong. I'm gonna. No,
I don't have faith. If I'm upset,
and David is more manly than majority of people I met in my life because like he was the one after God's heart. Yeah, and he was supposed the one coming back at the end of the day. to rule over Jews again, apart from that. But he was also the one that, like, many times in the Bible, he was like crying.
He was going through it. Moses, he was struggling.
They were crying, like Moses is crying, God, why you give me these people?
I feel he's leading a million people. That's a story for another time.
I'm like, let's be honest, like, these people, they were emotional. Jeremiah was like, bro, why you keep sending to these things? Why you need to eat like a roll? Now
All kinds of stuff.
I'm like, on the Hosea.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes. Oh yeah, I need to use you to show them like how like Israel is a prostitute. I'm like, it's like you read the Bible and they're always sharing. Each one of them, there is a moment where they are literally speaking about this is tough.
Yeah.
This is rough, God. It's not. And they're not being like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
I'm a man. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kill everyone, cut a head and everything. I was like, no, not really. Anyway, I think to not make it too long, I want to everyone, yes, we're gonna actually add all the podcasts in the description like this. You can click direct on the link and going to watch the podcast we spoke about, starting from the one from Cam, but also we're gonna put the one from the Paris because they're great podcasts. We got Men on Homehood, Womanhood. And again, thank you very much for watching, and we're gonna be back again with our next episode, think upon these things or on these things. Bye.
Bye.